Hi, I'm Nikolai Kazantsev, and I've been information security pro all of my life. I've been working in the government sector, in the private sector, but lately I moved away, and me and my team we are building community system for information security processes management. We call it Securithma. And today maybe we have users or community version, cloud version, or maybe local version of our system. Anybody? Lift up your hands, please. Oh, wow, cool. I'm very happy to see you, as well as everybody else at this conference. We are going to do a deep dive into the problems, into the problems of the information security services, and what kind of approaches we can use. We're going to use a framework. We're going to study 5 problems of information security industry. Then we'll talk about the time killers of the information security CISOs, but actually these are the big problems. Then we'll look into 3 technologies which we must be using today. We're going to look into a couple of principles which got to be used when we build our protection systems, and then we'll come to one single integrated solution, which definitely is going to be on the market, so that our information security architectures could be further developed. Let's begin with problems, with issues. Our problem, the 5 problems of InfoSec industry. It's a heterogenic, very fragmented IT structures of our clients' companies. Secondly, a lot of ISTs that we got to be using, a lot of regulation and red tape, lack of staff to do all of that, and all, degradation of information security systems, which you and I are creating. Now, the problem number 1, heterogenic industries, remote control, clouds and nodes and shadow devices. This is not a problem. This is a very cool story, in fact, because IT has been developing as an industry. Companies are growing up, our companies growing up, making more money, and they do it because infrastructure is growing and developing. But for us, as information security professionals, it's a problem and a challenge. And those approaches which we've been using 5 years ago no longer work today. And this is why the next problem is a lot of ISTs, information security tools, because, you got to do the cloud, you got to do this and that, some kind of subscriptions. You have to come up with new IST security tools. You got to build it into unified CEM system. And today you can find on the market different, like dozens of ISTs. And if you look on the Russian solutions, about 100 security tools, and each company has like dozens of those tools which are being applied. This is a problem because we are lacking resources to do all of that. Problem number 3 is regulation, the government regulation. Well, it's not a problem, right? Those compliance. It's a foundation on which we as information pros are building the system, our ISTs. The problem is that we are over-regulated, and each regulator is offering their own standards, and they're saying the same thing. Like according to our research and according to correlated database, over 150 standards have been applied. Up to 50-60% of all the regulatory requirements, they're identical. They double up, and we just drowning in all these standards. Next problem is basically we are lacking staff. It's not about that we have too few people in information security. In InfoSec, we have lots of people. You can see on the stadium right here, and we have lots of professionals. I can see it in your eyes. We're all pros of the industry. But what is the problem? The problem is that despite we do have pros, and information security today is needed for each company. Like 30-50 workstations you have, you need InfoSec components, you need some experts, and not every company can afford it, actually. Many companies cannot simply afford us as professionals. That's a problem. That's a problem on the market because, professionals are expensive, and they're not enough. for everybody. Next problem is lots of requirements. Different infrastructure, a lot of ISTs. We are trying to make it into one suite, into one system for a company's security parameters. And the average information security office is using between 400 and 500 measures. I mean, from antivirus to regulations on onboarding of employees. Just imagine 500 elements in your information security system. The more you implement, the more you fine-tune, and the system begins to degrade, of course, and this results in your and mine efforts as information security officers. Tomorrow, they are not helping the company. And the problem of this degradation, I would say it's like a number one problem. Not only we have to create it, but we have to automate it. Automate it when you and I will move on with different projects. So these are the 5 key problems in my point. Next part is 4 time killers in SOCs, in information security offices, and this is where you have some potential growth opportunities and optimizations for InfoSec departments. Number 1 is audits and reporting. Number 2 is monitoring and IST's control. Number 3 would be communications with the business divisions, with the suppliers and other counterparties. And number 4, building InfoSec documentation. These are not problems. This is what we do. This is where we spend lots of time. And let's see, do we do it right? Information security audits. If you take, audits according to the ghost of Russian standards, like it's going to take a couple of months, personal data, 4 to 6 weeks, and also critical infrastructure, government infrastructure systems, maybe a suite, maybe some audits from the headquarters, you name it. And information security departments, whenever they have this kind of audits, they basically stop in their tracks. They are diving into this project of trying to pass audits. So audits, they are not continuation of their work in improving the security system. It's a separate project which is sucking up time and money and people. And that's a big red tape which is slowing us down, and we cannot move as fast as we want. The same case is with reporting. By the way, do we have today any heads of information security guys? Information security officers. My question is for you as a CISO. Have you ever had it like you were locked up in the cabinet, instead of like managing the process and developing the system, you would just spend your time doing PowerPoints? It's a great tool of InfoSec director, but will it help you to defend your infrastructure in the moment? No, it looks like it's a separate project, and it looks like you've been working for the whole day, you've been fine-tuning, but whenever you need to do a report, we're sitting down, PowerPoint, and trying to think, hey, what have I done? Where can I get these certain metrics and graph and what have you? And these, processes are totally, detached from the process of improving your information security system. Next problem is monitoring your information security tool, like a time killer more. On average, in any organization, from 5 to 20 ISTs are working. By the way, today, do you guys have more than 20 ISTs, information security tools, that is? Yeah, you have a lot of consoles, and you have to look into each of the consoles and to switch between them to be able to work in a particular business case, like to understand, okay, we got a virus on a certain machine, and what's the deal with the user? Who've been using that? Or what's the problem with their phishing, attacks? Have they been onboarded and trained? What's with their access rights? Do they have an access if we think that the computer is compromised? Then do they have access to a certain Active Directory and key business systems? It's quite a logical chain of investigation, but to be able to do that, you and I are looking at different 5 or 6 consoles to be able to extract all this information. Excluding IT system, which is much more using ISTs, and we have to dive deep and to be able to extract the data which you and I will be needing to do our work. And it looks like our sweep, I have this perfect system for information security. It's just a set of detached ISTs, and we're trying to jump between them like a squirrel, collecting nuts. It's a time killer. It's lots of time between switching between different systems. Next, the third time killer would be communication. Not in the sense that it's bad. Communications are great, especially if it's about communication with your business departments and IT and your external parties. And for communication, we use lots of different channels. Now, what's the problem? The problem is that somewhere right next to you, our system of protection is sitting idle. We are communicating to have like a risk evaluation, incident investigation, or updating our business system. And it looks like you and I are in fact carriers of information from communication environments into our ISTs or security tools. Okay, maybe I have some kind of Excel spreadsheet, but anyway, we're doing just a copy-paste instead of doing something more, solid. And it's about the time that you're transferring this info into ISTs. This is your time killer. We have to give it up. And also, the next time killer, I think every InfoSec guy, InfoSec Pro, documentation, all the huge amounts of paperwork, what's the problem in a time killer? It is not that you are building some kind of regulations. They're helping us to assemble it all together and to explain what has to be done. But the problem is that a document, 3 to 5 or 50 pages, which has been issued 1 year ago and scanned, and it's on the file server. Your employee is not going to read it. Nobody's going to read this document. Even the information security officer is not going to read that. Now, we have like a clip thinking, high speeds, only very brief documents can be read. And in the right context, only they will be read and can be beneficial for the information security departments. And the way you and I have been treating the documentation in our work, in our departments, it's a thing of the past. It's got to be changing. And later on, we'll of course say how all this could be changed. I'm just identifying the problems. Now, 3 technologies which you and I can and should be using in our operations. Number 3, first of all, of course, process automation. Second, AI, and then aggregation of ISTs, information security tools. To be able to deal with the problems and to decrease these time killers, which are dragging us down, we have to implement certain tech. Number 1, automation. Automation of all protective measures in InfoSec. Like I say, in your company you may have like a 400 or 500 tools, so we gotta come up with something to be able to automate it. And of course, in some cases this would not be possible to do. You cannot automate everything. But for each activity, let's say you've implemented a new business process like a training or double-checking the access to firewalls and servers. The question number 1 is, can we fully automate it and to, without spending a certain X of time and X of our budget money? Let's say we cannot do that. Then we ask ourselves a second question. How can I document this activity and automate its regular occurrence? And we have like a million things, taskers and outlooks, and you can use CRMs and you name it. As long as all these activities which we're implementing in our working operation be under our control, and the system would remind us that you need to do that, because humans are the weakest link. If you've implemented certain event and you haven't automated it, you've decided to move on to new implementations and new things, make sure that 1 month or half a year later, this process is going to degrade and you come back to your initial point.
So the automation of the mechanism of reminding and automation for the requirements of the person. The next technology, AI, and I'm confident many of you are going to tell us a lot about artificial intelligence because it's everywhere in our lives. And it's not everywhere in our information security. Not every defense measure have implemented mechanisms of artificial intelligence. However, every CZ has it. It's recommendation models, it's help, it's a prioritization, paying attention of the operator to the key elements and problems of infrastructure, then generation of documents to security incidents. And this is available in enterprise products, and it will come to the informational security means. And you, as a developer of your means of protection, if you select a system, if it doesn't have artificial intelligence in the roadmap, then you will select a product that will have to be replaced later. So if you don't have protective measures with AI, you have a lot of AI assistants which you can use on a daily basis. And for example, every day I use AI assistants. And a question to you in the audience, who uses AI assistants every day in your work? Well, very few. It's a trend in its beginning. But those of you who don't use them, they are local, they are foreign, free of charge, and it's very convenient in your daily work, especially when you need to build a report for your top management. The next technology, aggregation of the protective measures. We have dozens of information security systems, and there are different information security systems. We are switching between these consoles. Data of information security are different, but modern products can unite it all. Any modern information security system should have habits for entrance and exits, not necessarily integration, but if you don't have API to collect data, it means that it also has been outdated. Aggregating this data can be in BI, CM. In CM, we aggregate for quite a while, but we aggregate events, logs, but I'm speaking not only about events logging, but any data, for example, data that user has access to specific systems, or user went through the training, or that in this system we have not conducted antiviral check. Any data that has been part of this information security have to be united, and there's a number of tools for aggregation. These three technologies, and I would like to speak about two more principles which we have to investigate. Principle number one, creating single digital model of your information security system. And the second one is a sharing of knowledge between information departments. Well, it's a recommendational, but in our company in recent several years, we are supporting it. That's why I had to speak about it as well. As for creating this single digital model of information security system, what is the problem? We have hundreds of protection measures, hundreds of processes, and they are distributed. We have protective measures, risk protection, matrices, compliances. But all these together are objects valuable for information security department, and they have to be united with each other. For example, protective measures data can be united with your asset management, which in its turn should be united with your processes of work with business processes, data from vulnerability scanners, and then all these can be used in risk management processes or compliance to regulation framework. From this, you can form the documentation and operational work as objectives for the information security department. So uniting of the organizational world and technical world, this is something that we should strive for in order to create a single SUI. And the second principle is a data sharing. Not just the data sharing as like writing in a chat or in a forum, but data sharing between specific corporate services of information security. Each one of us creates in its workplace something unique. These can be scripts, prompts, document drafts, and some protective measures of implementation, and sharing this data between different information security departments. This is a point of growth for the industry in general. And this Saturday, 3 p.m. at open source and community section, we are going to make a presentation about how you can share data between information security department directly to increase this synergy of different information security services operations. And these are principles that we see more and more in the market, and there are tools for it, there are technologies for it, and these are not only subscriptions for CI feeds, but also some other large-scale entities. These principles should be applied. And if we generalize everything that I've been speaking about before, what direction market moves to, those time killers for which we cannot close our eyes in our departments of information security and existing technologies, to my point of view, it should be some kind of a super app, and it's not a specific application. This is an approach of super app. When in a single point, in a single application, you have united all the information security functions. And we unite data from all the means of protection, all the process-related stories, automations, and artificial intelligence. We cannot go without it as well. So, SGRC, SOAR systems, asset management systems, EDR system, management systems are moving in this direction. And this is a trend, and this is the direction into which all vendors are moving, and all the information security departments, they all are uniting this single point. You can also speak about SEC. Many vendors are developing this. And who is going to be the most important super app? I cannot tell you that now. But the fact that there is a trend like that, and there is a movement in this direction, it's precisely what happens. And in the information security system, we should look in this direction, because all our information security systems have to be put into this simple super app. Well, it's going to happen tomorrow, but what can we do today in addition to making presentations for PhDs? Well, today at least we can begin by creating our own single system of information security management system, single database of knowledge of all the activities of information security department. For this, we can have specialized systems, for example, like SGRC, SOAR, asset management products. There's also free community products for this. Also, if you are on the side of other tools, there are applied services like Obsidian or Access. The key principle, everything is what is done by information security department, all the protective measures are described and connected to your assets, measures, compliance, and the work of information security measures. And you have a single picture of what is being created within your suite. And the second recommendation is by buying new CISs, please remember there should be API, because if not today, but tomorrow, you will have to unite it all into a single digital environment. And of course, availability of AI in the defense measures, it's not tomorrow, it should be today in the roadmap of the vendors you work with. So these are offers of what can be done today. So thank you very much for your interest, and let's discuss if you have any questions. Thank you. Well, we have small introduction for the best question. The speaker will give a book. The books can be different, so please ask your questions, and then there's going to be a prize in the end. In our case, real CTO. So who was planning to become a CTO? Ask your question. Okay. I don't want to be CTO, so somebody from the back. My name is Alexander. In your recent slide, you've been speaking about dual-sided API. REST or CREST API, but you have not used this term, CREST API. It's not that you can take data, but you can also push it. It's a solution class. It's specifically called CREST API. Thank you very much for your correction. And this is a candidate for the technical director, definitely. Okay, I will hack in. Sechov Nikolai, thank you for your presentation. You've called several time killers, some steps in the industry which became outdated. There are modern words like disruptors when you work with the text, and this is GPT. But in our case, as if with security, GPT is more likely point of information leakage, and not all developers understand what this information leaks to and how it's being processed. So back to the question, what if? Is there a silver bullet which is going to remove all those killers and get something for ourselves so that all the previous things would not be lost? Thank you. Thanks. As for ChatGPT, nobody uses GPT transborder transfer of information. We have local domestic options, which are also cloud-based, but we also have local ones like Llama. But of course, deploying our own AI in the infrastructure, this is really costly. If you have built your sweep, and if you want to do something, you can deploy your own model. But generally speaking, you should wait until there's going to be local models in those means of protection that you are using. As for the second part of the question that I have missed thinking about ChatGPT, what was the second part of the question? Is there a silver bullet which is going to allow us to kill all these type killers and create something more performance-based, like ML or something like that? Okay, I understand you. Those approaches which have been presented to you, both us and our colleagues in the industry and vendors are implementing our own products, specifically about how we are doing it in our community in the ERC system. We're going to speak about it Saturday, 3 p.m. at the open source section. And we're moving in this direction. It's not a fantasy that we would like to achieve this or other way. I hope in a short period of time we are going to stop spending time for audits, reporting, not because it's not going to happen, but because the witnessing of audit and reporting will be automatically end-to-end continuation of the work of the security department. When in the course of the year you implement the protective measures, you apply the witness of the audit, you have to press the button and that's it. Is transformed into the forms. It's achievable and it works today. My name is Pavel. There was a story with a dual-sided API, and that solutions should have it. But according to my opinion, wide functionality, even the widest API, should be given to this super app, definitely, in order to be able to tune it flexibly for the peculiarity of the information security management system. So I have a question. Well, I'm one of the first pretenders of the super app. What are the plans for the development of the API in security? Because we would like to learn more about how do you see the development of this particular part in the existing product that people can use today. Thank you. Just 1 week ago, there was a released API was added to the telemetric modules, so you can push it into the system. However, as you can see, 100% coverage of all the functions should be in the API, so that any technological objective, whether you're a small SMB company or big enterprise, it should be realized. You cannot avoid it, even though if we are not going to do that, we should do that. Thank you. And a final question, and then we're going to move on. Hello, my name is Maxim. I had a question about ML and AI that only lazy people are not speaking about. Okay, this is wonderful, development of technologies, etc. But then we have a question about what do we want to transfer the information security function to the technology, which is too far away from the perfection. How do you think, are we ready for implementation of these technologies into the pro reaction, which you've been speaking about it, automated reaction, but I don't remember in real life that somebody have used it, because, it's a shooting into your leg. Today you can be confident, but as we have seen in many of your things, you have hallucinated and then you thought everything's okay. Isn't it too early to create it as a mandatory requirements? And the result of this can be the death of the user interface, which suffers in many solutions. Definitely, implementation of AI into the reaction and preventive influence of the infrastructure is shooting your leg. And if you're speaking about active reaction and counteraction, even SOR systems, which are created for this, they are not used for preventive measures. There's nothing new that's going to happen there. It's going to be on the end lines when automation will be permeated into influencing critical infrastructural elements. However, AI, it's not just influence, this is also creating recommendations. For example, let's take information about vulnerabilities in the infrastructure and how they can be enriched on a good quality level by AI. Also, please take your documentation, how it can be discerned, filtered, and divided by fields by the same AI. So, forward-moving directional development. In our case, we see at least 7 cases of using it. They're all different, and they will bring certain value for the end user to reduce time for the work of a specific employee in the information security department. And from the point of view of documentation, I completely agree with you. But same recommendations that AI, ML, or anything will provide you with, not the ML, machine learning, but AI specifically. And the results of these recommendations, they also should be checked, double-checked. Otherwise, it will complicate your process, because even the same, well, people at Harvard are writing about programming with the help of AI. And the opposite side says that checking of what was written takes more time than writing it. And of course, the situation today looks like that. Well, about the development, I do agree. We've tried it, we didn't like it, so we use old school manually written code. But everything's changing. Things that happened a year ago and what's happening today, we will see more cases in the course of development of new technologies. So I agree with you right now. Thank you, dear colleagues. Okay, let's select the winner. Should I select the winner? Well, we had a colleague in a white suit. So he's going to be the CTO. He's busy. Because he's almost the CTO. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your questions, for your interest. And let's create ideal systems of information security management. Goodbye.